everybody. Just come back to this site that I started back in August here, and it's starting to show some improvement. I'm here to do some finishing touches. I'm supposed to be working, but sitting here, which in fact is working, because one of the most important parts of understanding permaculture design is the observation of how it's manifesting, and this changes everywhere that you put a design in. The parameters are different. The amount of sun, the amount of water, the slope of the land, the quality of the soil. So everything evolves differently from the onset. So what I'm noticing here today is that first off, we can see how this environment is starting to come into its own. It has integrity. It has chi, for lack of a better word. It's not scattered all over the place. It almost looks like a natural functioning system. And a couple of things that I've noticed in here, all this mulch we put on is hay. We didn't have a lot of choice, and I suppose that we could have composted the hay to kill the seeds that were in it and things like that. So there's a fair amount of new growth happening out of the mulch itself, and in the soil that was lying dormant for so long, there's seeds and other things in there. So some of those things are starting to appear. It's not a huge problem. You know, if we have a little bit of hay growing here and there, it's simply a matter of turning the mulch. Trying to find a good spot here with some dandelion here. So we'll just flip that over, slow down the growth, and my clients added in a couple places maple leaves, which will deteriorate in the whole process, continuing to create more soil, an active biosphere, and containing the water. And you can actually hear in some places where I'm walking through the swales, the water is still sitting in there. It's gushing around, and it's being forced to go into the ground instead of running away from the ground. So this system is still producing. These are plants that were planted back at the end of August. There's little carrots there, and you know, they may not grow to fruition, but they're still growing. These lettuces are still growing. They're still being harvested. We're mid-November, and there's a good line of kale all the way down the bottom edge there, still growing. Mint is growing, parsley is growing, Swiss chard, rainbow chard here. All these things are still taking place. So you're looking at a system that's maturing, but it's doing exactly what it should be doing. Although we can observe how various processes are taking place in the garden and adjust them to how we think will benefit the system on a whole. So we can see obviously how quickly the decomposition of material happens. I don't know if you can see this mycological activity down here, mushrooms taking place, fungus working, there's a little one right here, to decompose this material, break it down into actual soil. And that is the whole premise of mulch, mulch, mulch. You're adding in bioorganic material that becomes something greater than it was when you put it in. Now, the idea of mulch also is to suppress weeds. But in this case, we're getting a bit of a counter activity going on, but it's not something that can't be easily rectified. You know, in my opinion, this system has good integrity, and it should be very good to see its growing potential come the growing season in the spring.